Our weapons are not carnal. We are fighting spiritual battles. You are not fighting your neighbor. Your neighbor may be trying to steal your land. Our neighbor, when I was in high school, tried to take our driveway from us. She was the secretary down at another church in town and was trying to take our driveway. Our driveway run right up next to my bedroom. I said, Daddy, that heifer trying to steal part of our land. Daddy said, that's all right, son. She ain't getting nothing. She don't know no better. She don't know who she's fighting. Daddy said, we'll pray about it. God will take care of it. I ain't worried about it. She ain't getting our drive. He said, one, I know God, and two, I know what my deed says, so I ain't worried about it. Well, it just got nasty. They'd give us nasty little looks coming in, nasty little looks going out. I mean, it just wasn't good. I'm going to tell you, I was 18 years old, and I wanted to go over and whoop her. It just ticked me off, grieved me in my spirit, somebody trying to steal our land. My daddy worked 90 hours a week burying dead people at the funeral home, was either working a funeral, a visitation, or something, and was hardly ever at home, and that hussy going to come try to take our land, what he's working for? I don't think so. Now she calls herself a preacher. Not sure if she ever got that under the blood or not, trying to steal that land. But my daddy, one, she forgot who my daddy was. Because my daddy knows every preacher within 100 miles around. Because at some point or another, they've preached funerals at the funeral home. So my daddy just called her preacher up on the phone. And he said, Brother Marcus said, I hope everything's gone all right, but your secretary thinks she's going to take my driveway. He said, do what? He said, well, your secretary's got this notion that somehow her deed states that our driveway and my carport is hers. He said, she's nuts. He said, meet me over at y'all's house in a little while. I'm going to have her go home on her lunch break and tell her we about to get this settled. So I'll never forget it. It was on a Wednesday. I went to Christian school. We got out half a day on Wednesday. Any Christian school kids in here? We went half a day. We got out because we went to church on Wednesday night, so they let us out half a day to do our homework. I take that back. This sermon might be a little longer than I originally thought. So I remember coming home and standing on the front porch and listening to what was going on out there. And her preacher told her, said, now I want you to listen very carefully. He said, I can't read deeds like those people that do that. Surveyor said, I can't do that like he can, but said, I know Brother Johnny, and I know Brother Johnny don't lie. He said he's a godly man. He's a good Christian man. Said he's not lying. And if he tells me that this is his driveway and carport, well, I just believe it's his driveway and here. Yeah, but my paper says. He said, well, then you better hire you a surveyor. He said, because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. He said, you're going to drag this thing into court. He said, Brother Johnny's going to win because I just know Brother Johnny, and you're going to end up looking like a fool. Well, she didn't listen. I just want to tell you, if you got a pastor, do you good to listen to it. So she got her a surveyor. Surveyor come over there and knocked on our door, said, I want to tell you what we're out here doing. Daddy said, I know what you're out there doing. Go on, do what you got to do. It don't make no difference. Come to find out, my daddy was telling the truth. But what she did was somebody made a big mistake. About 50 years before this, and had jacked up everybody's property on the other side of us. She just brought out this big old can of worms, and they run her out the neighborhood. Now, what's that got to do with our most dangerous weapon? Here it is. When you're dealing with people like that, it is not an attack against you. It is a spiritual attack from a demon in hell that is trying to destroy you. And you've got to understand that this is not a carnal attack. It wasn't our neighbor. It was a spirit working behind our neighbor to try to destroy what God was doing in our home. But my daddy, being the spiritual man that he is, said, we're not going to fight this in the carnal. We're going to fight this in the spiritual. So you must understand that your battles are spiritual. Sickness, pain, heartbreak, sorrow, they're all spiritual battles.